Hey, Kris.
Hey, Drew.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Why, yes, I have.
When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had a lot of questions. Like, how do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do we make money podcasting? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now just by reading this ad.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now?
That means if you want to get a podcast going and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Join me and Kris and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
What makes you afraid? Some of all fear lives at the crossroads between our greatest phobias and the horror movies we love to experience. Part pop culture and part psychology. It's time to find out why we're all so scared of the dark.
So we are...
This is our first time on big
now.
Boy equipment.
You can't talk that far away from the microphone.
I know.
You're not
I'm
gonna
still
be able to lean
learning.
back like that.
Sorry. This is our first time on big boy equipment.
Yes, we have microphones now.
Woo!
We have microphones. We feel like
Thanks, Wayne.
we got all the way up to... I was going to wait till 10 episodes in, but we only got to 8 episodes and we already have fancy podcast microphones.
Because of Wayne's support.
Wayne, yeah. Lacey, our friend Lacey and her boyfriend Wayne hooked us up with a sweet microphone, and we liked it. We tried it out, and I got a second one, and they seem to be working pretty well. I think that the sound is much better.
I do too. You should thank a Wayne near you.
It's much better than an iPhone.
It's a little better than that. I don't
For
know if
sound
we deserve
quality.
better, but we appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah. So we're back. You're way across the room. It's really weird. You're
I'm
like
in
a
the
long ways away from me.
shadows.
You're in the shadows because she wanted to sit on the couch and I have a little desk.
Well, you gave me like a little computer chair, which is fine. But, you know, I mean, if I have the choice between a computer chair and a couch with my dog and a big fuzzy blanket that I got at Costco for $8.99.
You know what the problem is, though? I'm very, very
Jealous.
scared that you're going to fall asleep mid-podcast.
Envious? That might actually
Because when you're on
happen.
that couch, normally, like it's just moments away from you just passing out completely.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't you
I
think?
might
it's,
have
it's a very real
narcolepsy,
possibility.
though. So I could pass out anywhere
It could definitely happen.
at any time.
I was going to come on this episode singing Me and My Arrow.
Because you have it stuck in my head and it's driving me insane.
Yeah,
It's like a needle in
a
my
major-
brain.
Major earworm. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Point from, I think it's from like the early 70s. This movie is perfect for this episode, although it's not scary at all. Although also extremely scary because it's this like acid trip
I don't know what you're talking about. It's terrifying.
animated movie from the early 70s that Ringo Starr narrates, and Harry Nilsson has all these folksy tunes, and one of them is Me and My
I closed my eyes
Arrow.
accidentally when we were watching it, and I kept them closed just to see. Fucking creepy.
It is creepy. Straight up and narrow.
No wonder our siblings are messed up.
Dude. Siblings, I watched this as a my dad loved this movie, could not wait to show it to me when I was a kid. I remember so well because he just loved the music. But it's a movie about this whole world where everybody has points. They all have pointed heads and there's pointed trees and everything's pointed. And then this poor little boy's born with no point on his head. And so they call him Oblio.
It's a societally relevant message.
It is
considering the times.
because there's this like count and he's a dick and he ends up kicking poor Oblio out of
I know.
town and separating him from his parents. And it's just him and his little dog Arrow.
It's a Rudolph story.
It's very sad. Very sad. But it really reminded all week long that I've been been researching this podcast, I've been singing Me and My Arrow. And then I was thinking, and then all of a sudden I got Me and My Feardos stuck in my head. And I was thinking I could come up with some sort of Me and My Feardos.
Oh, do
song.
it. Come on. Improv.
Me and My Feardos. I don't think it has the same effect, but I will say.
Oh, wait. Me and my fears.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Me and my fears.
Dork. Oh man. But yeah, check that movie out. Check out that super ass drug trip of a kid's movie. It's not really, I mean, it's just, we're just going to start with that apparently, because that movie is just a weird pointed movie. And this episode is all about sharp pointed objects.
Yeah,
so
pointy things.
It's very relevant. But welcome back, Feardos. We are back for episode 8 of the Sum of All Fear podcast. And we're going to slice and dice through this episode like a dang old Ginsu knife.
A dang on Ginsu knife.
We're cutting through beer cans. We're going to cut through an old shoe.
We're coming through like a spider monkey with knife fingers.
With knife fingers?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cut through a PVC pipe just to see if my Ginsu knife can do it.
I bet it can.
We got lots of sharp, pointy things today.
So many.
And I'm excited about this episode. Really excited.
You were really energized. I don't know where you got your energy from. Like, you have done all of the things this weekend, and you should be running on empty, and for some reason you are pumped. I mean, it could be the Red Bull.
I just took my second sip of this Red Bull.
I can
vodka.
already see your eyes lighting
today.
up. Your heart rate is increasing.
It's Red Bull vodka.
Vasodilation is occurring.
I'm like a slutty girl out at the club tonight, drinking my Red Bull vodka.
You're super slutty in your sweatpants and sweatshirt.
Yeah, I'm looking money. What are you talking about?
I didn't say you weren't looking money. I said you were looking slutty.
We're both wearing your roller derby sweatshirts that we bought last night at your roller derby bout. She had her first roller derby bout in 2 years almost?
Yeah.
Gosh, a year and a half?
I didn't die.
Yeah, you did good. You're beating bitches up all over the place.
Thanks, honey. I did it for Archer.
It was awesome. Yeah. Our little
if you can hear me, I did it for you, buddy. And your
shout
mommy.
Out to Veronica. We've got this is weird. We have headphones in and we have microphones. It's odd. I have to get used to this.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. It's
different. It's
different, but I think we'll get used to it.
I'm hearing my voice very loud in my ears. Maybe I should
turn it down.
Turn my volume down a little. Oh, there we go. That's a little better.
It's better.
Yeah, so it's not banging in my ears so much.
We don't want ear banging.
We had an ear banging. Don't do it in the ear, guys. That's a good way to get an infection. Inner ear infection. Don't do it. It's bad.
How far can you really get though?
Not very far.
Your eardrum's
hopefully
right there.
Yeah. This took a weird turn.
We should edit it out.
Oh, no way. I never edit stuff out. Are you kidding me? I like it when it takes weird turns. That's the best. Forget you.
You're a weird turn.
But before we get too far along, remember to follow us on our social media sites. We have a Facebook page, the Sum of All Fear, just called Sum of All Fear Podcast, I think. We have a Twitter page at Sum of All Fear Pod, and we have an Instagram, which is also Sum of All Fear Pod, POD. So if you like us, we really, really, really would love for you to follow our social media, and we would also really appreciate it if you give us a rating and a review on your podcast sites. That would be really helpful. That moves everything forward, and then more people will listen to us and hear our random ramblings, which we really like it when you do. So do that. That'd be awesome. We had some shout outs we need to give out this week.
Yes, we do.
We mentioned Wayne for lending us the microphone, which has led to us having this awkward across the room experience that we're having, but hopefully much better audio so that you can hear us in your cars instead of, just in your headphones.
And so I don't have to sound so far away.
Yeah.
Because I'm so quiet.
So far away. Doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore?
Oh,
sorry.
I lost
Every
the
time
beat.
I hear
I'm
that,
sorry.
I can't help. I just gotta sing it.
I really have no rhythm.
Your roller derby friend.
Yes, Gemini and her husband. I did not know this, but apparently they have listened to the podcast, and I really appreciate that. And it was so fun seeing her and the rest of the crew that came out to the bout last night. So, yeah, that was great. It was
Had
a great
little
little
conversation
reunion
at the after party.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. I love it. And then
Who else?
Leviathan, I believe. Leviathan. See, I can't say that. Okay. Leviathan overheard us talking, and she was like, wait, you have a podcast? And I was
That's
like,
a roller
yeah.
derby name, by the way.
And so is Gemini, if you hadn't caught on yet.
Obviously. That's not her real name. But that would be a really badass real name.
That would be really badass for this fear too.
Ooh, yeah, Gemini. Yeah, like a pencil.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. I was trying to find a pencil scene. I didn't get a chance. I kept looking for, I just didn't. I had so much other things going on with my research that I couldn't get the thing that I wanted, which was I really wanted to find a really good pencil scene where somebody gets killed with a pencil.
Dude, the best pencil scene is from the Batman movie where the Joker slams the guy's head down on the pencil.
I don't remember that, but that sounds terrible.
Oh my gosh, we have to post it to the page because he goes into basically like a room of bad guys and he's propositioning them, and the bad guys don't take him seriously. So he balances a pencil magically on, I think it was like a cooking table or something. They're in a restaurant back end, and he goes tub like this. It's magic, and then he slams the guy's head next to him, and it goes right through his head. So yeah, that's your scene.
I like it.
There you go.
I need to find that and we will post it.
Wow. If you had asked, I could have told.
That is awesome. Our friend Vida was listening this week. She sent me a really nice message.
Oh,
she actually listened.
Vida.
She said she finally got through an entire episode because she said she starts them and then gets busy and never gets through them. So she got through a whole episode and she sent some very nice comments.
Oh, thanks, Vida,
she's
for
one
listening.
of our bestest friends. Who else? We had our first email sent in from a listener that we don't even know, which is we assume that we know everybody. It's literally just our mom and
for confidentiality purposes, we won't mention said listener's name, but it was very nice.
No, it was Angelica.
Oh
yeah, she's awesome. She sent us a cool. Why not? I mean, nobody knows her. She doesn't have their last name's not on here. But
I don't know. The therapist in me is like, confidentiality. No, she told us something that was very intimate unless we get her written permission.
All right. Well, we'll call her Cindy then. Oh wait, is it too late now? Because I already gave her a real name. It might
be a smidge too late.
Oh well. She was suffering from a really interesting phobia, and she wanted us to cover it because I thought it was really fascinating. She was suffering from automatonophobia. Which is the fear of statues, which is really interesting.
I kind of looked into it a little bit, but I want to do some more research before, really getting back to her on kind of the information that I've assimilated.
Yeah.
But from what I found so far, I think it's the fear of anything that is statuesque. So not just statues, like mannequins.
Right. Yeah. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I've got some great movies for that one.
Right. Oh my gosh. Wait. I keep thinking of the first episode of, I think, was it Doctor Who that we watched? Where the mannequins come alive in the back room and they start chasing him?
Oh, maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
That would have been a while ago. That's possible.
I need to ask Mahler. Mahler will know.
Yeah. So really interesting. And that was really cool. And so if you're listening and you have if you have an interesting phobia that we would love to hear about it. We'd love to
chat.
Send us an email at someofallfearpodcast@gmail.com. And we would love to hear your story. And we would share it on the air if you're okay with that.
Or if Drew wants to.
Or if I just decide I'm just going to mention it anyway and throw it out there. And she's going to the Statue of Liberty soon.
I know.
Which is crazy. Like that seems like the place you would not want to go if you have a fear of statues, because that's like the statue.
Yeah, and I think one of my biggest questions was, how do you think it's going to feel to be inside of a statue?
Yeah, is that a weird deal? Maybe maybe that might be a comforting.
I don't know. Is it empowering?
Seems
is it
interesting?
Is it more frightening?
Tell us more, Angelica.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. So thank you for sharing your fear experience with us.
Absolutely, fear experience. Ooh, is that a new thing?
Did I make it a thing?
I think you did.
Okay,
you just made it a thing.
You're the marketing genius.
Yeah, genius. But we also got the most amazing shout out for the podcast just today. And I want to
say, screamed through the door and I thought one of the kids was
I was so excited. I was super excited because I just started listening to the Horror Virgin, which just launched last year. So it's a fairly young podcast as well, but I kind of look up to them. That's why
it's a virgin.
Yeah. Well, it's very young. But they're doing fantastic. Like they've kind of exploded and they're doing horror conventions and, all kinds of cool stuff, doing live streams,
hilarious
from
videos of that poor gentleman. Man. If you need any support, please reach out to me.
Todd. So Todd is,
I would love to provide you with some support through all of this trauma.
Todd is the Horror Virgin. So basically the podcast, guys, go follow it. It's a great podcast. If you like horror movies, it's awesome. But if you're not a horror movie person, it's kind of amazing too, because it's basically centered around Jen and Mikey, who are horror fans. And they're on the podcast with Todd, who is the Horror Virgin, and he does not like horror movies.
Not a fan.
And so they make him watch these movies, and then they talk about them afterwards.
Videotape him, and
they videotape him. They videotape him watching him a lot of times. Yeah,
what
and get his
a
reactions,
great concept!
Which
like I love
hilarious.
It makes me smile ear to ear. But honestly, at the same time, like Todd, reach out to me. I'm here for you.
Yeah, Kris said that she is going to offer Todd some free therapy.
I cannot offer him free therapy.
You can't?
I can. You can't give away things that I can't give away. That's not allowed.
Why can't you give it away?
You can't barter.
Give it away. Give it away.
No. Give it away. You can't barter as a therapist. You can't trade.
What are you
skills.
bartering? You're not trading anything. You're just giving some free therapy.
I know, but
what are we getting in return? We're just getting the awesome feeling of helping poor Todd through his horror trauma. So anyways,
it's not therapy if we put it on air.
So the Horror Virgin, check it out. They gave us a wonderful shout out on Twitter and on Instagram. They screenshotted a picture of our podcast episode, and
that was really neat,
and gave us a really, really, really sweet shout out. Thank you guys so much. If you're listening, we really appreciate it. And you guys are awesome. And we would love to,
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Better at some point. Maybe, like, I don't know. We should send an email or something. We should talk.
Maybe we should ask their parents first.
We need to ask their advice about how do we go from like 0 to 1 million like they did in the last year. They are killing it out there. Talk about marketing geniuses.
You have a killer podcast. That's how you do it.
Yeah. You got to be good at this, which that's hard to teach.
Working on it over here.
So really cool. Gosh, how far have we gone here? Are we droning on too long?
We are. We need to cut some of it.
16 minutes. All right. I won't talk about the movie I watched this week. I'll save it till next week. No, I will talk about it briefly. Best movie I watched ever this week. Ticks from 1993. I did not know this freaking movie existed. It stars Seth Green, like total early 90s Seth Green, like his red hair floofed up, parted down the middle. And Alfonso Ribeiro from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. As like this hard ass gangsta with parachute pants on.
But you can't not see him doing the Carlton.
Oh yeah, he was Carlton. It's just really hard to see him be all hard and tough, but it was amazing. It had a bunch of like Cronenberg-esque mutations and like had some fly stuff going on. So good. I recommend it. Check it out. But since we have been chit-chatting for way the hell too long, it's time for everyone's favorite phobia-based trivia game.
What the fear? You say it now.
What the fear?
There you go. Okay, you have to say it like that.
All right, it's time to figure out how I am going to be horribly humiliated, phobia style. Are you ready for what the fear?
Are you ready?
No, I'm never ready.
Well, okay.
I'm clearly not ever prepared properly for this game show.
Well, in order to just be of some more assistance, I actually added some hints in. So you'll actually get a hint with each phobia.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned that last week that you probably should do that.
I did, because you said it was getting boring hole-ish.
I thought it was, I mean, I was getting boring hold because I didn't have any answers that were correct or even close to being correct, which is probably the funny part.
Is that you were
it's probably the best part of the entire game.
Way off.
Whatever. All right.
So are you ready to try this?
I am ready.
Okay.
As I will ever be.
I'm going to give you handicaps, so don't disappoint me.
All right. I need a lot of strokes on this one. That's a golf term.
A lot of strokes.
Yeah. I need some extra strokes on this hole. On this boring hole.
On this boring hole.
That kind of worked.
You need extra strokes. I love it. Good
Golfers
job.
The 4 golfers that are listening will understand that.
Woo.
All right. Go for it.
Okay.
And I haven't played golf for like 5 years. Why am I throwing out a golf reference? That's so random.
Somewhere from the recesses of your mind, it just got brought up and went into pun land.
Weird. All right. Let's play some What's the Fear?
All right. Your first fear is Jurassicophobia.
Oh, come on. That's got to be an easy one, right?
Jurassicophobia.
That's got to be an easy one, right? Am I going to get this one right? I should get this one right.
I don't know. You might. Would you like the hint?
I don't know that I shouldn't need a hint on this one, right? I should be able to just get it.
I don't know.
Now I'm scared, so I should probably get the hint. What's the hint?
Okay. So your hint is people who fear this may have shopped at Toys R Us.
Oh, this is not what I thought it was. And this is not fair. It's not the fear of dinosaurs, clearly. Because
you should have asked for the spelling.
It was absolutely the fear of dinosaurs.
You should have asked for the spelling.
So it's not spelled Jurassic,
no.
phobia? Okay, so it's not the fear of dinosaurs.
Nope.
I fucking hate this game. Can you spell it for me?
You're truly bad at it.
All right, spell it for me. Come on. Give me something here.
I feel like you get too confident in your guess and then you forget like the simple question. Like, wait a minute.
Sounded like an obvious one. I mean, if you heard Jurassicophobia, you'd be like, oh man, the fear of like Jurassic, like the Jurassic period. I don't know.
Make
dinosaurs.
Sure.
All right, spell it for me. Come on.
Okay, so Gerasco, phobia. Jurassicophobia.
And they want to stay away from Toys R Us?
No, I said people who fear this may shop at Toys R Us.
See, now I'm thinking Jurassicophobia, like geriatrics. I'm thinking like old.
Or Jurassic, like kicking Jurassic.
Kicking Jurassic. I'm going to kick your ass after this is over. You deserve it too. You're such an ass. You gloat. You should see her face. See, I probably sound like I'm making this up, but she looks like she is so happy to.
No, but truly I am. Whatever you're going to say.
She is like giddy with delight
yes.
right now. She is so happy.
Of course.
So they may not want to shop at Toys R Us.
No. They may shop at Toys R Us.
Oh, they may shop at Toys R Us. Okay. So Jurassicophobics may shop at Toys R Us. They are afraid of getting old.
Oh my fucking God. You got it right.
See, I just needed a freaking hint.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh, I blew out everyone's ears.
Because it makes sense.
Do you need to?
No, that's.
I blew out everyone's ears. I'm so sorry. I was so excited for you just then.
I got one right.
You
and did I nail it too?
You nailed it.
See, well, it was a pretty
good
obvious.
job.
It wasn't that hard.
You started off with Jurassic Park,
It wasn't that hard. I would have guessed fear of dinosaurs initially, but not with the spelling. I think the spelling I would have gone somewhere with age because of the G-E-R instead of J-U-R.
Okay, so now I need.
Yay! I got one right.
Now I need to step up my
so
hint
excited
game because I don't like this.
Yeah, well, you don't like where this is going.
No, I don't
the
like
first
this.
hint you ever give me, and I get
great
it right.
job. I don't like this.
This is why I'm so good at Jeopardy, because Jeopardy gives little hints in every single one of their questions. Or I'm sorry, excuse me, every one of their answers.
Exactly.
They give a little hint, which is why I'm good at it, because I like putting those. I put those little puzzle pieces together.
You should have answered what is, because I wrote it like a Jeopardy question. People who fear this may shop at Toys R Us.
What is the fear of getting older?
Yes.
All right.
You know what?
All right. All right.
I got
Let's
that
move on to the
from-
second one. Come on.
But I got that from literary character Peter Pan, who literally forms a colony of phobics, the Lost Boys.
Oh, that's right.
And then has them worship him.
Ooh, that could be a great horror movie. We should
I
turn
know.
Peter Pan into a weird cult of getting older,
That's what I thought
Like
Pan's
horror
Labyrinth
movie.
was going to be, and I was very wrong.
like a Heaven's Gate cult thing, right?
Yeah,
they're like,
do it.
they're I like it. Peter Pan's actually a cult leader, and he's leading all these people astray. I like it. And yeah.
And they all
it's
fear
good.
getting old.
Yeah. Tinkerbell's hot though. That came up this week somehow. I don't remember what it was.
Someone was at Disneyland.
Again, How I Met Your Mother. Gosh, we really watch that
no.
show way too much in the as the background noise.
I think we fall
Um,
asleep to it, and then we rewatch it in our sleep.
Yeah, because she redid Barney's apartment to look like Tinkerbell's vagina. And then that led to me saying something about Tinkerbell's vagina and Tinkerbell
Cutting
being
edge
hot.
comedy, people.
Let's go on to our next What the Fear.
Okay. Man,
word.
if you get this
I am
next-
one for one, baby. I'm batting 1,000 right
Man, I don't like this. Okay. The dealer doesn't like to lose.
now. They never
Okay.
do.
Ready? Okay. Your second one is arachibutyrophobia.
I'm guessing you pronounced that improperly.
Arachibutyrophobia.
Arach?
Arachibutyrophobia.
Not a rock.
ARACHIBUTURO phobia.
Good Lord. Arachiophobia.
Arachibutyrophobia.
Arachibutorophobia. Can't even pronounce it. How am I supposed to define it?
What's
you gonna
really
give me- are you gonna
funny
give me a
is
hint?
when I tell you what it is, it sounds like what it is.
Can you give me a hint?
Yes.
Are you not going to give me hints anymore because I got the first one right?
No, I'm apprehensive.
You better get better. You better give more.
Crap.
Not as good a hints next time.
Okay. Right? Okay, your hint. Charles Schultz famed this fear in his comic strip. Arachibutyrophobia.
Oh, let's see. The fear of a rock.
It was later used by novelist Peter Odell in a spy novel called The Dead Man's Handle, if that helps.
Oh. Oh man, I got all kinds of things going through my brain now. I'm like, does this have something to do with Snoopy flying his little
Good.
I'm very
That's my
excellent.
plan.
Excellent. He's struggling
Excellent.
again. He's back where I want him. You're such an asshole.
Ooh. Too many hints makes his brain crazy.
Is it the fear of oh my goodness. The fear of rejection?
No.
The fear of missing a football.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had thought of that. Wow.
All right, I missed that one.
So Mr. Ed would have gotten this fear.
Wait, the horse?
Yeah.
Horse is a horse, of course.
Do you remember how they made Mr. Ed talk?
No.
They put peanut butter on the roof of his mouth.
Oh, and he was trying to get it off?
Yeah.
Ha!
This is the fear
That's good.
of having peanut butter stuck to the roof of your mouth.
Oh, wow. I love that. What a great fun fact.
Boom.
That is fantastic. That is a wonderful fun fact, and I will proudly get that one wrong because you're never gonna get that one right.
But doesn't it sound like if you got peanut butter stuck to the roof of
Well, the
your
way
mouth
you
and,
pronounced it,
and
it
you were
did.
trying to say something like, arachibutyrophobia. Sounds like you have like when you have braces.
I'm
and you
okay
get
with getting that
bread
one
stuck
wrong.
in your braces.
I'm good with that one. I really appreciated that Mr. Ed fun fact. That really
Aw.
made my day.
Good. I did a lot of research. I'm trying to get away from celebrities
It's like Nick at Night over here.
and tie in some other new fun pop culture references.
I like it.
Expanding
All
horizons.
right, so I'm one for two. Let's go for the third one.
All right. Are you ready for this one?
I am ready.
This one is fun. I had fun with this, and I almost want to call into A Way with Words about this word.
You keep bringing up A Way with Words. If you haven't listened to A Way with Words, it's a really fun NPR podcast that talks about the origins of words and cultural words, which I think is really interesting, like different like regions and where they develop
and how they influence those words.
It's super nerdy.
It's awesome.
And I love it. And our kids like it, actually.
Our kids love it because we play it on road trips.
Because they're nerds too.
Yeah,
Yay,
little
for
nerds.
All right, continue.
Okay. Aichmophobia. Aichmophobia.
Can you spell it for me, please?
AIBOH phobia.
Aichmophobia. Aichmophobia. That is the fear of.
You're not even going to get your hint?
Oh wait, I forgot. I'm so used to just failing immediately and being rejected.
That's that learned helplessness that I've bred into.
Yeah.
Conditioned.
I am conditioned.
You're just lying there like a dog that's given up on an electrical grid.
Way to throw
Famous
some
experiment.
Psychology, some psychological history in there.
Okay, so your hint is this fear is the same going out and coming back.
So fear is the same going out
and coming back.
And coming back. That's an odd one. Oh, the fear of boomerangs. No?
No,
fear of the Doppler effect.
But that's a wonderful guess. I almost I didn't even think about that being an impact of that hint, but yeah.
So it's not the fear of boomerangs.
It's not the fear of boomerangs.
Speaking of boomerangs, I do want to bring up another Australian thing. Because we do have a podcast about pointed things today. And you said we have to bring up Crocodile Dundee's "That's not a knife."
You mean
that's a knife?
This
is a knife.
This famous quote.
I can't. What am I? A monkey? Am I supposed to quote on cue? Anyways, we'll bring it up. I guess we'll bring up that quote later. Since I failed already at your cue. All right. So what is this phobia? Oh, are we at that point yet? Yes. You gave me my hint, right?
I did. And you guessed
Doppler effect and boomerangs. Yeah. No, neither.
Okay. So this.
Wow, that was awkward. That got awkward quick.
This.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yes. Thank you.
I couldn't remember the quote. I think that's the quote. Isn't that it? I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
This is a knife. I hope you're not listening in Australia. I hope there's nobody.
You failed me and the Australian people.
And Crocodile
and
Dundee.
All 5 listeners.
Yeah. And what was that guy's name? Paul McGinnis?
Hashtag
or something like that?
Sorry, Crocodile Dundee.
All right. So what is this phobia? We are babbling today, man.
Aichmophobia is...
I think it's this new microphones. We're really excited about these.
We are.
Sorry, go ahead.
We like playing with them.
It's like the sounds of our own voices in our headphones.
So this is the fear of palindromes. And what's really interesting about this is that the fear of palindrome is a palindrome. So
the fear of palindrome?
No.
Oh, I'm like trying to do that sentence in my head. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think that's a palindrome.
Aichmophobia. AIBOH PHOBIA backwards. AIBOHPHOBIA.
What dickheads?
Yeah, right.
What freaking person in the mental health field thought that would just be fucking hilarious?
I don't know that anybody in the mental health field necessarily creates these names.
Somebody's got to create them, right? Some asshole was like, ooh, I got this one. This will really piss him off. This will really piss him off. Stick my finger right up his bum. Oh, now I'm on to...
So you went from boomerangs to that's not a knife.
To Crocodile Dundee, to what's that guy? The
crocodile hunter.
No. Was that his name? No, the dude who died with the stingray. What was that guy?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. Yeah. Was he the crocodile hunter? Was that who he was?
I don't know.
I don't remember. All right. We have been doing, this is the longest What the Fear I think we've ever had. Might have been our longest intro we've ever had. And I really want to get into this episode because it is freaking great. Because as a horror movie fan, you cannot get better than this phobia. So let's break into our phobia for today, which is Ike. Nope, not Ike. I screwed it up already. Aichmophobia, which is the fear of sharp or pointed things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are on to Aichmophobia. Do you want to know what the etymology of our wonderful phobia is today?
Yes, please.
It comes from the Greek, surprise, surprise, aichme. Aichme. I believe it's aichme, which means spear or spear point, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's pretty relevant.
Because, people that have this phobia ain't too fond of spear points.
No,
not fans. So tell us a little bit about our wonderful phobia today, which is the greatest horror movie phobia ever. I love it. It's perfect.
Well, I mean, this one is just so broad because it's the fear of sharp things. So it can literally be generalized to like sharp edges, umbrella points, pointed fingers, fingernails, paper clips, thumbtacks, clothes hangers, corners
of like tables.
If you have this phobia and it's really severe, think about how debilitating that could be to your everyday life.
I'm literally looking at a wall behind you of pictures that are all in frames. Every one of them has 4 incredibly sharp pointed edges of them on them. So I'm just thinking, if you looked around the room, you can see points on every table corner.
Right.
It's crazy.
So yeah. And it's not an irrational fear to be afraid of, banging your head on a corner and passing out or, severely hurting yourself. But to have that anxiety crop up and to generalize it that far, that would be incredibly debilitating. Now, if we bring it back in a little bit smaller, we're looking at things like needles and knives and, ice picks, things that can hurt you.
Sure.
When you utilize them, those kind of more everyday objects.
Which, I think there's kind of it would seem like, and I could be wrong, let me know, but humans probably have a natural fear of sharp things, kind of like they would a fear of fire.
Yeah, hot things. Hot things are hot. Sharp things are sharp.
Right. Like you see it and you go, I probably shouldn't go, sit my butthole on that. That'd be a bad idea.
But there's also, like we talked about in the Fear of Heights episode, the folks that kind of feel almost drawn to run their finger across something
a blade
or to jump from a height, that call of the darkness.
The call of the...
Do you remember when Hank in our kitchen was doing the dishes and he pulled out the chopping blade for the chopping machine and he walked over to us and he said, "Is this sharp?"
Yeah, and literally ran his finger across it and just sliced it open in front of us. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, teaching, this is an important moment in your life, buddy.
Sharp things are sharp.
Yeah, and here's your sign.
Oy, oy. But that's part of this fear too. There's this fear of, what if I faint when I'm holding a knife? What if I have anxiety and the knife slips and I cut myself severely? What if I, what's the other example I was thinking of?
You know something I was just thinking about?
Sorry, what if I lose control and I just start stabbing myself?
Is that really a thing?
Yeah, it's the same thing as that call of the void, like from Heights. It's that like, what if I just did this? What if I just sliced my arm open? Do
you think people with this fear would have a really rough time in winter places? Like we're in Reno, Nevada, so we have a pretty solid winter here. Like especially this year. Fuck, damn it! I hope it stops snowing like sometime.
February buried.
It has been snowing like nonstop for quite a while. But do you think they have a problem with like icicles? Like around, because like literally everything is covered in icicles right now. Like it's
I
been
would
cold
think
as shit.
because I mean icicles also
snowing.
cause a number of deaths. So
Oh,
you know
big
that
time.
fear of dying from a pointed object gets related to everything pointy. You know, so pencils, like we were talking about earlier, with the Joker slamming somebody's face down on a pencil. You know, that all of that is plausible. And when it's plausible, our anxiety can kind of latch onto it and really feed off of it. And our brain can take us to some really gnarly places.
Do people with this phobia tend to have a specific object phobia, or do they have it as a broad phobia, or is it all over the board?
It's a range, just kind of like the other ones, you know, like how I'm afraid of heights if I'm up on a ladder, but if you take me on a roller coaster in an airplane, I'm cool. It's weird.
So there might be some people who have like a fear of just pencils, but there might be people who literally fear every type of pointed or sharp object,
or most types of pointed objects, or they feel like they have to cover the edges of pointed objects in order to feel safe around them.
Well, we were talking about how interesting it is as parents. When you have kids, you almost immediately become kind of
hyper aware.
Yeah, aichmophobic because you see
all the potential
places
for your child as they're growing up to nail their head on literally everything up until about age 3.
And even now, like even at this point, our kids are 11 and 7 years old.
Oh, and if they're wrestling
around in like the living room or anything like that,
you'll hit your head on the corner of the fireplace.
You guys are going to split your head open. We're going to be in the emergency room. Like you just had that fear.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah, exactly. You'll shoot your eye out. You'll poke your eye out with that stupid corner of the table that you're about ready to fall into because you're wrestling your brother.
Well, think about another category of this fear, which is kind of the subgenre of the fear of knives. So think about the impact of having a fear of knives when you're cooking, right? So what would be your first instinct if you're needing to cook something and you have a fear of knives? What kind of a knife would you use in order to cut something?
Well, you'd probably use a butter knife.
A really dull one, right?
As dull as you can get. But yeah, a butter knife would probably be the...
What's really ironic about that is that you're more likely to injure yourself trying to cut with a butter knife.
With a dull knife.
With a dull knife
Sure.
than you are with a very sharp knife.
Sure.
So some of this fear can be, kind of calmed by learning how to properly use the tools that one is afraid of. So taking a class in proper knife handling, or a cooking class where they show you how to handle things properly and to hold your hands properly so that you are less likely to cut yourself.
Makes sense.
So, kind of the precautions that we think we're taking in order to stay safe from sharp things sometimes can be worse than just the sharp things themselves.
Yeah, so I bought my son a pocket knife. Well, he'd gotten a small pocket knife when he was younger, but when he turned 11 this year, I bought him a nice Swiss Army knife. And, when you're that age, you have anything that you can use a knife for, you immediately go for the knife, right? To go to try to do
yeah.
it. And he was trying to cut open some sort of packaging. And I literally was watching him from across the room do it. And he stuck the knife into the like plastic around this packaging or whatever it was. And the knife's pointed back at him as he's ripping it back towards himself. And I'm going, I have taught you that is a bad idea. Like, don't do that. And yet he still was like,
it's part of the learning curve sometimes.
Learn how to use the knife properly. Don't do it towards yourself. Do it away from yourself, unless
he's been kind of afraid of it ever since, which it's not temporary to have kind of odd to have kind of a temporary fear that comes up after a situation like that, like there was a woman that I was reading up on who, after she would go through long bouts of sewing with her sewing machine and just kind of seeing the needle piercing things, she would have these vivid kind of almost daydreams about the needles piercing her skin and stuff. And so it was almost this temporary generated fear as her brain was kind of working with everything that it had seen during her daily activities.
I can't imagine, to me, anything. Well, I could totally see having a phobia of like needles. Like we're not even, and we're not even talking medical really here, because that's a separate phobia. I mean, it does kind of cross over.
It crosses over.
You know, needles like hypodermic type needles, but
Scalpels.
typically, well, yeah, there's a specific phobia for just being afraid of hypodermic type needles or medical needles, right? But this one kind of crosses into that, so it can kind of go all over the place. But you also have like pins, needles. I was reading about somebody who's afraid of safety pins.
Yeah.
I was reading something about somebody who was afraid of splinters, which will come up.
Oh my, I'm kind of super paranoid of splinters too. Like
they won't touch anything wooden. So there's actually a combination. It's like xylophobia or something, but it's like the fear of anything wooden.
Right.
And some of that comes from like a offshoot of like being afraid of splinters.
But you can actually get splinters from things like hair. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can get a hair splinter.
Oh, I've had it before. Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah. I've had little pieces of hair stuck in my skin before. It hurts.
Oh, it's horrible.
Ones. But so to me, like it's really interesting how broad this is. And it's great for horror movies because, you know, like how could you get a better phobia for horror stuff than sharp stuff? I mean, we're talking slashers all the way around, right? I mean, it's going to be great. I won't switch into movies yet because I know we have more fun things to talk about with the phobia, but I'm so excited. There's
a power behind sharpness that makes it almost irresistible.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Like yeah. We'll dig into that. We'll dig into the movie stuff a little bit more. But so did you find any case studies at all? Or was there anybody that you found that had this phobia, and how they dealt with it, or because it would seem like it would be like the cooking thing, very debilitating, right? I mean,
right.
If you can't chop anything up, you're going to be eating freaking Hungry Man dinners every night because, you know,
or
you can't
you
really
have
cook
somebody
any fresh vegetables
that does it for you, you know, kind of like how you cut up the
chicken.
Can't
all afford personal chefs, all right?
You cut up the chicken for me so that I don't have to touch it.
So you gotta marry somebody to do all the cutting for them.
Or, you know, you just have a friend. But no, I couldn't actually find any case studies. And I'm wondering if there is anybody out there in, you know, podcast land that knows somebody or maybe experiences this themselves. It was really difficult to find any information on it. And one article that I read said that could be because it's related to the fear of needles so closely that it tends to kind of get generalized with that.
Sure.
And it's hard to study the fear of needles because people who fear needles often don't go seek treatment anywhere that there's needles.
Well, yeah, doctors would not be their favorite people, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're not going to see a whole lot of those patients, so you're not going to know that they're there.
Sure.
So this one's kind of a little bit more of a mystery to me. I mean, I understand the psychology behind the fear. I mean, it's, you know, sharp things are sharp. They can hurt me.
Didn't you find a Reddit page?
I found a Reddit about someone who's afraid of needles. Yeah. And we'll post that up, on all of the social media
Was there
pages.
a bunch of like really hilarious,
but there was a string.
Were they making fun of her, or was it just like,
no, they were,
Reddit is
they
vicious,
were capitalizing
man.
on some very, very generous puns that could be, you know, formulated from being afraid of sharp things. So you guys should go check that out. But yeah,
we'll post that. We'll post that up. Well, but it wasn't just sharp objects. It was specifically needles. Somebody was afraid of needles, like actually being like shots, right? Like at the doctor's office type needles.
But I think of folks like Johnny Cash, where his brother, you know, died because he got sawed in half by their electrical saw.
Is that what happened?
I don't know.
He got sawed in half. I don't remember.
Not in half, but like his stomach got cut.
I think he got sawed in half in the parody that what's his name did. And John C. Reilly, the one where
walk hard
and walk hard.
No, but
the actual story is I think he just got hurt by the saw.
Well, didn't it cut his
him.
Stomach and then
something like that?
You know, he got sepsis and then passed away. But whatever. Yeah. The same thing.
Bad accident with the saw.
The same thing applies here, though, is that would terrify me of that sharp thing or of sharp things after seeing my brother go through that kind of trauma.
Oh my gosh.
I would be
Can you imagine?
terrified. I would
Oof.
be very hyper aware of sharp things because I would have seen what they're capable of.
I would just become one of the greatest country music singers of all time. That's what I'd do.
Well, you have the voice for it.
Walk hard.
I mean,
The Dewey Cox story. That's what it was called.
you know, this fear is super interesting. You know, we fear them, the sharp objects, because we're fascinated with them and simultaneously terrified by them, but we're also very distrustful of the power that they wield.
I have never been a big knife guy until recently. Now I have to have a pocket knife in my pocket all the time. Although
Why
I
is
lose
that?
them every time I buy one. I'll
Why
buy
do you
like a
feel
nice
like you have
pocket
to-
knife and then they're always gone.
Why do you feel like you have to have one?
I don't know. Because I feel like it's, part of being a man. You're supposed to have a knife on you at all times. Like when somebody goes, anybody have a knife? You always want to be the first one to reach in your pocket and throw one out.
So for you, it's more being a man thing, but for someone with this kind of a fear, that knife represents a lot of vulnerability to injury. A lot of the flashes that folks that experience this see include things like accidentally gutting themselves.
Dude, that would be terrible.
Right?
Oops. Just accidentally
imagine-
gutted myself.
Imagine if every time you saw, a broken glass, say the table out back broke and there's these huge shards of glass and you know what that glass is capable of.
Oof.
And the first image you see is you accidentally tripping and falling on a huge shard of glass. I'm pretty sure that happened in the movie Ghost.
Well, I know that there's a lot of movies with good glass kills, and I wanted to find some of those as well, but I just ran out of time. I just didn't have time to find all of the good sharp object kills. There's so freaking many.
But that would be an example of something that would really incite that fear, that
Oh yeah, just the
reaction.
second something happened like that. So like we break a drinking glass on the ground.
Yeah.
Somebody who had that fear of sharp objects would immediately be like
Right.
running. So you're kind of like that with guns. Like if you see a
Yeah.
gun,
I'm very apprehensive.
you are not a fan.
I have this
And we have a friend who has a gun in every room in his house, just about.
I have this anxiety that they're going to go off. I mean, I know that they're not going to go off unless somebody touches them. But even if they're just sitting there, I have this anxiety flash that they will spin and point at me and shoot.
Like that would be
Like a ghost.
that would be.
Like a ghost is trying to shoot me.
I kind of love this
Poltergeist.
concept. I'm picturing it in my head for a movie idea. I think it'd be really great if an inanimate gun just turned around and just started shooting.
That would
be terrifying.
horrible.
Yeah, that seems like that would really scare you.
But think about other ways that this could apply. Like if you're out in nature and you see a broken tree branch and you think about, riding your bike and your bike flips into that broken tree branch and impales you. There's so much potential out in the world for injury that this fear could be all around you.
Yeah. So
if
do you
just
think
look
that's
a little closer,
do you think
everything wants to kill you.
everything wants to kill you and everyone wants to kill you,
Mhm.
which is really the basis for a lot of our most baddest assest movies of all
Baddest
time.
ass.
Baddest ass movies. Baddest ass. Some of our most
movies.
kick-ass movies of all time. So I think we should transition to movies because
Let's do this.
because this
You're
is,
so excited. You are jumping out of your seat.
I'm not jumping. I'm standing very still next to my microphone.
No, I see you jumping.
My legs are moving.
He's
I'm very
lying.
excited. I shake my legs when I get excited.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. My legs are
It
exhausted.
makes me a little horny too sometimes. It fires me up. Not the slasher stuff, just the moving my legs back and forth.
Oh,
It's like a rhythmic movement.
I feel like it's a soothing mechanism.
It's a soothing
you,
mechanism.
for
yeah,
sure.
for
You
sure.
do it in the morning.
So is masturbation.
You do the
This all
leg
comes
shake.
together. This all flows into one another.
You do the leg shake in the morning, and that's how I know you're awake.
True. Yeah, it's true. I come by that naturally.
And you also come by that naturally. Apparently.
Oh,
Hey-o.
masturbation joke.
You made it first.
So let's transition from masturbation into Oh, I'm sorry. Transition from our phobia about the fear of sharp and pointy objects into our movies. So, Aichmophobia is the greatest phobia in the world for horror movies. I mean, how could you get a better fear than the fear of sharp objects?
How did you narrow this one down?
I didn't narrow it down.
That's right, you did.
We're going to talk about every movie
ever.
Hang
on tight,
that has
kids.
any sharp object
Put
where
on your big
somebody
girl
is
panties.
killed or maimed or murdered, or you know, their nose is chopped off, or they're you know, stabbed with a sharp object. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm excited. We're going to talk about all of them. This podcast is going to be 5.5 hours long.
Woo! I think that Red Bull's getting to you.
Does it give me wings?
Red Bull! Tantrum!
Tantrum. Literally, this phobia applies to every slasher ever, right? I mean, every slasher movie of all time. I mean, pretty much.
Could you argue against that?
I suppose there is. I mean, there's some slashers that use blunt objects, right? I mean, there's some slashers that don't dive right into the sharp ones.
Are those slashers or are they smashers?
They're smashers. Oh, that's a whole new genre. I like that. That's a good idea. Yeah, anybody who doesn't use a sharp pointed object should be called a smasher instead of a slasher. I like that. That's good.
You need to do your top 10 smasher flicks.
I should. I do have a top list for this one.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this because
go read it.
Honestly, like if you think about it, right, every slasher ever, you have some sort of
apparatus,
something, right? I mean, there's a sharp object involved in most of them. But I narrowed down my top favorite slasher movie kills that involve sharper pointed objects. Is that going to fit? Is that going to fit on like a meme title or like a title page?
Yeah, I think you could do it. Maybe in like Comic Sans.
Yeah, my top 5. I'm going to do. In fact, I'm only doing 5. I was going to do 10, which I'm glad I didn't because we're really loving like chatting this one up.
Be the longest podcast ever.
But I only picked 5, but I am going to do 10, and I'm going to post it up as an article on our website.
Great.
So if you haven't been on our website yet either, by the way, it's someofallfearpodcast.com. And mostly right now I just have the episodes up there with their descriptions and stuff, but I have a couple of articles. I have a few articles to check out up there, but I am going to put another one up this week, and it's going to be this one.
That's some good ass content,
right? My top 5 favorite slasher movie kills that involve sharp or pointed objects. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
I guess you could call these honorable mention like scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 5 top 5 favorite slasher movie kills that involve sharp or pointed objects is...
You have to say it faster.
The Burning, which is a movie from 1981.
Oh, you made me watch this.
I made you watch all these. I made her watch all these scenes because they're so good. But The Burning is this really great movie that Tom Savini did the special effects for. The weapon, I did different weapons for every one of these. So the weapon, our sharp pointed object for this movie, was gardening shears.
Very clever.
Yeah. You saw it.
Yeah.
They looked amazing, didn't they?
Innocuous if you're just gardening.
There's a scene,
if you use them properly.
There's a scene where he goes up and it's like a shadow of Cropsey. Cropsey is the guy's name. He's a disfigured caretaker of a camp, I think, or something like that. There's a scene where he comes up above with like a shadow of him with these shears. He was a
large man for such a canoe.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Hold that thought. We'll never come back to it. But it is a good point. I like it. Stop looking at me like that. He massacres this entire group of happy camper kids with his gardening shears. And it is a wonderful scene. That's my number 5. My number 4 is a very famous scene. I threw a couple of obscure ones, some semi-obscure, and a couple of standards. I thought it was important to mix it up a little bit.
But not to be too predictable.
I don't want to be too predictable. Yeah. So, but this one is the famous Kevin Bacon scene from Friday the 13th. My number 4 pick. The weapon is an arrow.
Ooh.
Miss Archer over there.
Hey.
She likes to do archery.
I do.
So I might wake up with an arrow through my neck someday.
Well, I
piss her off enough.
I like to think of it as my skill for the zombie apocalypse.
Your archery?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to use?
Mm-hmm. Because if it's really handy.
It's not going to be guns. We know that.
No, it's really handy if you want to stab someone, but over there.
That's how the bow and arrow was invented, correct?
Man.
I really wish I could stab somebody. But
like over there.
Over there.
Yeah.
Over there.
Over there.
I love this scene because Kevin Bacon sits down and he lights himself up a joint. And if we know anything about slasher movies,
if you're high,
if you're doing drugs or you're banging, you're gonna get killed, right? And so he sits down, he lights up a joint, and Mrs. Voorhees grabs his forehead and boom, arrow up through the neck. Great scene, wonderful, blood splatting everywhere.
Brutal, great.
Number 3 is another standard from Halloween 2. We got to get some Michael Myers in there, so we there's a lot of Michael Myers deaths, kill scenes. There's a lot of, as there is a lot of Friday the 13th kill scenes, but my favorite Halloween scene is from Halloween 2. The weapon was a scalpel. Another great pointed sharp object. Laurie Stroud's walking down the hallway. Nurse comes to try to get her, to come, yelling down the hall. And Michael Myers appears behind the nurse and just sticks the scalpel right up into her spine, lifts her up in the air, feet dangling, and then we just see her shoes fall off, and just a really solid sharp object kill scene.
Have you ever handled a medical grade scalpel?
No, but I bet you they're really sharp.
Terrifyingly sharp.
Yeah.
They cut through skin like butter.
Yes. Do you remember Pet Sematary from last week?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the scalpel into the Achilles tendon? Yes. It is my most frightening, terrible scene of all time.
But it would actually do that if it did that to you. Like, scalpels are that sharp to the point where it might not hurt for a few minutes.
Because it just goes in so smooth like butter.
Because it's
like butter. It's like a butter knife going into some hot butter.
Yeah. And then your body registers it, and then it's like,
as your Achilles goes coiling up into the back of your leg.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Common injury for those after 30. Please stretch your Achilles before doing activities.
Yes, we have made that a public service announcement multiple times now. Stretch.
I want to fund the whatever color the ribbon is for the Achilles. Save the Achilles Foundation.
I think we can make up our own ribbon because I'm pretty sure they don't have one. But we should make up one because
maybe a white ribbon because it's like cartilage.
Stretch your Achilles, guys.
Yeah,
you're not getting any younger.
No.
My number 2.
Yeah.
My number 2 pick. Gosh, this one was tough because I really could have made this one number 1 too. But pretty much every kill from Slumber Party Massacre 2. Slumber Party Massacre 2 from 1987 is by far one of my favorite campy slasher movies of all time because the killer is a leather jacket clad punk rockabilly singer with a ridiculous guitar with a drill
guitar
attached to the end.
Kills everyone with, and it's awesome.
Oh man, is it amazing.
It's pretty wicked. Have you ever been drilling something and like imagined it slipping and going through your hand or something?
No, I haven't. Not till now.
Did I just watch way too much Rescue 911 when I was a kid?
Apparently.
Yeah, that can happen too.
So the rockabilly driller killer.
Death is all around you.
It is all around you. All around you. In the form of rockabilly guitar drills. Which is honestly, it's probably, in my opinion, the greatest slasher movie weapon
Yeah,
of all time.
absolutely. It's a wicked weapon.
It's a drill on the end of a freaking crazy ass guitar. Like what the? And he's singing. It's like a musical too. Like
they randomly break out in song.
And you guys may not know this about me, but I kind of dabble in the rockabilly world. I got myself a little pompadour. I've had one for a long time.
Is this another one of those lies you tell? Because
I like me some of the old school rockabillys and some Reverend Horton Heat and that's what attracted you to me.
You just hung out with.
You liked my hair. It was so high.
I do love your hair.
The higher the hair, the closer to God. That's what they say. The higher the hair, the closer to God.
And that damn smile.
that little sly out of the corner of my mouth smile.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the hair, the closer to God. So my favorite, but I do have a favorite kill in Slumber Party Massacre 2, though. They're all amazing. You need to watch it because it's fucking great. My favorite kill, though, is I think when he pops up in the back of the car and and he goes, "This is dedicated to the one I love," and then sticks the drill through the back of the driver's seat and kills the driver.
Oh,
so good. While the girls scream in the passenger seat. Amazing. Okay. By number 1. So we got to move through these. Blood Rage. 1987.
So good.
So good.
It was so bad.
It's so good. Great. And literally it's another one where like every kill is just amazing. They're just all great. And the freaking over the top practical effects.
It's so bad.
Are just ridiculous. But I got to tell you again, we'll do another Shudder plug. Watch the Joe Bob Dinners of Death Thanksgiving marathon.
Oh, it's even better.
Because he goes through Blood Rage in that marathon. And it is so good. It's so good.
I just want to hang out with Joe Bob and like have a few drinks and just let him talk about whatever the hell he wants to talk about.
He's my hero, I think, because you want to talk about a guy who just doesn't give a shit about what other people think of him. And he's so smart. And he also is really great about picking really great when it comes to picking the best bad movies. Like when he picks bad movies, he picks like the really good bad movies. Mm-hmm. And Blood Rage is one of the best bad movies. And the weapon in the scene that I like the most is the machete. There's a great hatchet scene where in the beginning with the boys, the two twin boys, and he hatchets some drive-in goer who's banging his girlfriend in the back of his seat of his car. Right in the head, which is a really great kill scene too. My favorite though is the machete where he goes out into the woods with the girl running away from him, and he's got the machete out, and he just
hacks her,
just slices her literally in half,
and then her body just like wriggles there on the floor,
and you see her body like just like still moving like in these two halves. I mean, it is just the best gory,
epic,
terrible scene of all time. So Blood Rage 1987, check it out. Great scenes of just sharp objects killing people.
Sharp object lethality.
Which honestly, like, you could literally go through like, I Know What You Did Last Summer and every single franchise, Candyman, you name it. And even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you puts him up on the hook, and Silent Night, Deadly Night we talked about the deer scene,
Evil Dead.
That all
or
has
Ash versus Evil Dead when
Ash.
She puts the fingernail right up to the eyeball.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's perfect. That's great because you said the pointing of the finger, right?
Yeah.
Even the sharp fingers. And in Ash versus Evil Dead, when the neighbor, the creepy neighbor,
zombie
turns
lady
into a deadite.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Give me the willies.
But that brings us to our honorable mention for today, which is the 2008 movie, not a slasher. I did it on purpose because I did not want to just do slashers. The 2008 movie Splinter.
I think I'm gonna like camping. She looks not right.
Well, what do you want to do?
Turn it off. Get in the car. Pull over. Hello? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
What's Get inside!
Who was that?
Move away from the glass. They tracks us somehow.
We gotta get out of this gas station.
Wait. Stopped. I think it's gone.
Drop the gun. You're under arrest. Get in your car. There's something out there.
Watch the Splinter. I want to stick you. There.
It's gonna get in you. It's gonna kill. You okay?
Don't touch it, please.
So the 2008 movie Splinter is not a slasher movie.
No,
And
it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
it is. It's about a giant
Splinter.
rat, a
Master
giant sewer
Splinter.
rat that trains a bunch of small turtles until they're really obnoxious teenagers.
Yeah, they're kind of bratty, but they love pizza, and I
They
love
do,
pizza.
which has nothing to do with our phobia, but we
No.
just thought we'd throw it in there. Be really fun. Actually, the beginning of this movie, there's when he gets
There's a
attacked,
creature.
he gets attacked by this like wolf-like dog creature.
Looks like Master Splinter.
And Kris is like, is this it's called Splinter. Is that Master Splinter? And I laughed very hard. That was good.
Thanks for appeasing me.
Yeah. That was money. I would kind of like I wouldn't mind seeing like a Splinter, like a good Splinter origin story movie.
Yeah,
a
why
really
hasn't
good
that
one.
been developed?
I think they've talked about like his origins, but I don't think they've put a whole movie together. So listen up, Hollywood. And we're recording on Oscar night too.
Yeah.
Screw you, Oscars.
Listen up, Hollywood.
Screw you, Oscars. It didn't nominate fucking Hereditary. You didn't nominate any of the great movies that were out there.
If no one has watched,
Yeah, nobody gives I don't care I do
Come on.
not care one bit what happens in the Oscars anymore. Screw those guys. They did good with us. Oh, not with us. That's the new one coming out with Get Out.
I can't wait to see that.
Us, the new one, Jordan Peele. Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so good.
Oh, and the new Twilight Zone.
Oh, that's another great plug for Shudder. Horror Noir, which is a history of black cinema, a black horror cinema, which is really, really interesting. Really great documentary, and you can only get it on Shudder because it's an exclusive. So
Huh.
check them out. I should be tagging them in everything we do because they should be sending me royalties. Splinter, 2008 movie. If you haven't seen this, it's a little bit of an off the beaten path horror movie that didn't get a ton of recognition, but it's a gem, guys. It's a hidden gem. What'd you think, Kris? You watched it.
It's pretty fun. I like. There's a few nods to the Evil Dead franchise in there that I really enjoyed.
Should I read the synopsis first before we dig into any specifics?
Yeah,
All right,
please.
I'll do the synopsis real fast. So, when their plans for a nature trip go awry, Polly Watt, played by Joe Wagner, and boyfriend Seth Belzer, Paolo Costanzo, decide to check into a motel. On their way, they're carjacked and kidnapped by low-rent crooks Dennis Farrell, played by Shea Wiggum, and Lacey Belisle, played by Rachel Krebs, who take the victims and their SUV to a nearby gas station. Along the way, they encounter an increasingly terrifying horde of parasites. And if any of them intend to survive, they'll have to outsmart the deadly organisms. Directed by Toby Wilkins.
It's fun stuff.
What'd you think?
It's really fun. And I found a really fun fact that the here, let me get my notes. The fungus that Splinter's based on, or partially based on, is a real thing.
Really?
It's called the Splinter fungus, or cordyceps fungus. It infects ants and cicadas, and it turns them into zombified versions.
Ooh, I love it. Do they get spikies on them?
Like zombified puppets.
Do they get spikies on them?
No, it just kind of like infects their brain.
Oh, well, so the reason I picked this movie, it came right to my head like immediately. And so I had to pick it because I really do love this movie. It's a really great little movie. But this fungus, this parasite that infects you and takes over your body, It's kind of a weird take on like a zombie type deal, but it's more the parasite just kind of kills you and then just takes over your shell, I guess, of your body, and it just twists it and turns it. And
there's so much.
There's a lot of compound fractures, which Kris is not a fan of.
I have to close my eyes and think about what I know the sound mixers do in order to create those sounds for a movie, like snapping celery in half, or I have to do that, or else she's
not a fan of compound fractures. That is a good way to
it's so
make
bad.
her crawl into a a little ball and suck her thumb.
No, I'm more likely to vomit.
So, but this fungus, this parasite turns into it creates these sharp spines all over your body.
They just come out of your skin.
Yeah,
it's really gross.
And so, like at the beginning, there's a scene where the bad guy, the guy who kidnaps this couple, gets a splinter in his finger from one of these deals, and then eventually his finger gets fucked up. But it's super gnarly, and they show it up close, like the splinter going in, and everybody knows that feeling of a splinter. And basically, it's saying that these parasites basically cover you in splinters, like all over your body. And then when they attack you, it just comes at you and gets the splinters into your skin, and
then the splinters stick out like spikes, and
yeah. So basically, it ends up covering your body in these spikes and killing you. And then the parasite, whatever's going on with the parasite, takes over, which is where the Evil Dead hand thing comes in.
Yeah, the hand gets chopped off, and then it starts chasing them around the inside of this gas station, which, by the way, is in Oklahoma. You can actually visit this gas station that it was filmed at.
Oh, fun fact. I like that.
Yeah. But the hand, now covered in spikes and zombified, starts chasing them around this gas station. And they come to find that by hiding in the refrigerator where all of the, drinks and stuff are in the gas station, the hand can't sense their warmth, their body heat.
So it can't come at them and attack them.
So it doesn't realize that they're there. It's kind of like a camouflage.
And our main guy, the male of this couple that got kidnapped,
who looks like Screech.
He's like a scientist. It's funny, and you're like, I recognize that guy, and he was in what, Road Trip?
Yeah, but he looks
I was like he's
Screech.
in one of those like National Lampoon movies or something.
Yeah, Screech look like,
or Euro
Horror
Trip
Screech.
Or something, or Screech. Yeah, he does kind of look like Screech. But I think he was in Road Trip, right? He was I knew he was in one of those cross, those teen movies with, college teen movies with a lot of boobs, and normally in Europe or something like that. So not a slasher, great spiky little splinter things that go all over your body. I thought this was a pretty good honorable mention for this little phobia.
That was a good choice. I liked it.
It didn't have as many good, like spiky, sharp scenes that I wanted. I thought it had more than that, but I think just the appearance of these spiny little parasite deals all over bodies.
Just think about how big that splinter was in his finger.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever
gnarly.
Seen or gotten a splinter that was really huge in your finger?
I've gotten
that just
ones.
Almost makes you pass out because there's so much of it, like right underneath your thumbnail, or your fingernail, getting a splinter right there so you can see it through your nail. Yeah.
And this was a pretty low budget movie too. They didn't have a huge budget. It was pretty much all filmed in one set. I think, right?
Why
Mostly
isn't there
in
a
that
horror
gas
movie
station.
out there called Paper Cut? Sometimes the smallest things are the worst.
Paper cuts would be, if I had this, that would be a fear that I could understand big time.
Mosquito bites.
Oof. So Splinter, check it out. It's a great movie. We gave a quick synopsis of it. Definitely lots of little spiny, sharp objects. Not a slasher.
Sort of mysterious fungus.
I wanted to do a non-slasher movie, and so Splinter is a good one, and it's a really fun one to check out. A lot of people haven't seen it. Definitely worth a watch. Did you enjoy it?
I did. It's a
fun one. Except for all the compound fractures?
Except for that. I had to look away. It got really gnarly.
Ugh.
All the arms bending the wrong way. I just can't do that. Don't do that to me anymore.
So that's going to bring us to our straight to the top of all sharp object killers of all time. In my opinion, I think this is the number one sharp object killer.
Naylor would be proud of you.
Of all time. It's time for our feature presentation.
And Now our feature presentation.
The kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
You could just see cuts happening.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know. Tia! The coroner got to say. He's in the jar and puking since he saw it. They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.
All right, so our feature presentation is the freaking most iconic horror movie of all time, I think.
Oh, Naylor would be proud.
I really, yeah, she would. Yeah, we have two friends. One is a big time Friday the 13th fan, and one is a big time Nightmare on Elm Street fan. And I have to say that
Naylor is the Nightmare on Elm Street fan. Mahler is the Friday the 13th
yes,
fan.
And Naylor is right. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mahler. Naylor's right. Freddy is the apex of all horror movie slasher characters.
Well, certainly for someone who might be more fearful of sharp objects, he's not a character you want to encounter.
No, he is not a character you want to encounter. And when I thought this phobia, I thought, okay, we could go through Jason and all of Jason's wonderful kills, which we didn't even mention. We didn't even mention Jason. Which I really, or did we? Oh, we didn't, because we talked about well, we did. We talked about Friday the 13th Part 1. But we didn't talk about any of his wonderful kills. He has many of them. And I am a Jason fan, as I am a Michael Myers fan. But I'm sorry, folks. Fucking Freddy is the shit. And I think it always goes back to what you experienced when you were a kid. And for me, Nightmare on Elm Street was like one of the very first early ones that I saw that was like a real horror movie.
It got you young.
Fucking A. I love me some Freddy Krueger. And if you are afraid of sharp objects, what is more terrifying? Not just one knife, not just one machete, not just one hatchet, not just one hook or cleaver or whatever thing that you want to use to kill somebody. No. How about a glove with 4 freaking knives? Right?
Well, we also could have chosen Edward Scissorhands.
No, we couldn't have. Edward Scissorhands would not have worked.
Terrifying.
No, but that's a Johnny Depp connection there. So, that works.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, but I got to say, like, Nightmare is
so
just
iconic.
so wonderful. It's just such a wonderful movie. We watched the original again today, which I hadn't seen. I normally watch it like once a year at least. But I hadn't seen probably since last like Halloween. I always try to watch like the iconic horror movies, like every
the regulars.
Yeah, like every October, around Halloween. So we watched it again today, and you fell asleep towards the end, which you normally do. But
I've seen it before.
Wasn't it fun to watch it again?
I love it. I think it's a great movie all around.
So good.
And we've been to that house.
We have. Yeah. Every time I go to LA, I like to swing by there because it's really easy. It's right off Sunset Boulevard.
I went with Naylor and Mahler. And Naylor brought her Freddy glove.
Did she take a picture with the house with her Freddy glove?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. When I was there, they were having like a freaking neighborhood meeting or something because everybody was outside the house. And this is the Nancy's house, the house, the main house. They were literally, there was like 5 neighbors just standing outside talking and hanging out. And I didn't want to be that guy.
The awkward
guy. And
guy.
it was nighttime. And so I drove by like 3 or 4 times, which
That's
probably
creepier.
creeped them the hell out. Probably creepier. And then I parked down the street like a long ways away and then thought, well, I'll get out and I'll just walk like I'm just casually strolling down the street. But then I'm like, well, then I'm going to take a selfie with the house. So they're going to know that I'm like a fucking tourist.
You look like
just taking a picture of the nightmare house. So yeah, I need to go there sometime when there's nobody around so I can actually enjoy like my cameo with the nightmare house. But if you're, to me, like this murder weapon, right? I mean, Freddy kills people in various ways. He doesn't always kill them with his glove, but man, in that original, that glove is just so money. I mean, what a great concept. Wes Craven, damn you. Like,
it starts
so
off introducing us to it as he's building it, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
You see it
in the very
develop.
beginning, right? The first scene, you see him building his glove, right? He's building this murder weapon, which is so like such, I mean, we said iconic like 10 times, but there is no more iconic horror murder weapon than Freddy's glove, is there? I mean, Jason's machete, Michael Myers' knife. I mean, those are all very iconic, but those are also very generic kind of murder weapons. Freddy has like something super unique, right? Like that's what I always love about it. It's so unique and it's so creepy, and he's such a creepy character.
When he wraps his hand around a wall and it's just the fingers.
Oh, just coming out. So good. And like scraping on metal. When he was scraping on metal.
Makes your spine crawl.
So I wanted to just focus on Nightmare 1. So that's why we watched it today. But as we were watching it and we were thinking about it, I was like, I'm not going to summarize this movie. Everybody's seen Nightmare 1. And if you haven't, like, what the hell are you doing listening to this podcast? Go listen to it right now before you listen to us ever again, because I'm ashamed of you. And you should go watch it right now. Right now.
That's a bold
Go do
move.
it. Stop it.
Shaming people.
Press stop. Go watch the movie and then come back. And then we can be friends again. Because to me, like, well, it's funny because we were listening to the Horror Virgin the other day, and you know how the like Pet Sematary last week, you'll watch a movie and you'll realize like an iconic old movie, like an old horror movie or whatever. And you'll realize like halfway through, I've never seen this movie before. Even though you thought
I've only seen bits and pieces, or I've only seen the TBS cut version.
I was listening to the Horror Virgin episode where they were doing Poltergeist, and I think it was Mikey was like, I just realized I had never seen this movie before. And in my head, I'm like, how in the hell do you love horror movies and you've never seen Poltergeist? That's how I feel about Nightmare on Elm Street. But I'm sure a lot of people felt that way about Pet Sematary last week. In fact, Metal Kris was like, I cannot believe you had never seen Pet Sematary before. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And you know, he's right. I should be shamed.
Wrong? You shame yourself. That's why you shame others.
Yeah, it's true. And we all need a good dose of shame. Don't you think?
No.
Shame is a very important emotion.
I think humility is an important emotion.
We should all have a little bit of shame. A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's kind of stuff with the How I Met Your Mother references.
It's like the fourth one this episode.
So instead of just analyzing the first one, which, I mean, you've got your Johnny Depp getting sucked into the bed scene, which is so good. And the blood just blowing up. Oh, I just hit the microphone. Sorry about that. The blood just going up into to the ceiling. I mean, just the best, just such a good scene. But I mean, I still think even after all the amazing Freddy kills with his, with or without his glove, the first real kill scene, the Tina scene, where she is, running through the alley and gets pulled into the bedroom with her, ghetto ass boyfriend, and they bone, and then she falls asleep and gets attacked, and you see her just wrestling with Freddy, like, but he's invisible, and the boyfriend's just going, "What the hell's going on?" And then all of a sudden she's up in you've all seen it, like and she's thrown up into the ceiling, and she's pulled up on the wall.
Doesn't he scratch her belly?
And then you see the his glove knives, going down her chest.
Oh.
And that's really the first time you see that like invisible hand.
There's that fear of being like gutted, that accidental gutting.
It's so rad. And there's so much. And then when they come in and find her, there's just so much blood everywhere. Like the blood, there's not even, I mean,
it's comical.
It was a little bit over the top. It's like Evil Dead, style.
Doesn't the body have like 6 liters of blood in it or something like that?
Yeah, but I think you'd have to do some serious, I suppose it's possible.
If you
there's a lot
cut
of blood.
A major artery, you could bleed out in a matter of minutes.
So I think that's my all-time favorite Freddy kill.
That's a good one.
The very first one, right? I mean, it's you always remember your first.
Near and dear to your heart.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It popped your Freddy cherry.
It did. It popped my Freddy cherry. It made me no longer a horror virgin. But as we were going through, and I was like, gosh darn it, I got to go through like the best nightmare
kill scenes
ever. And so we started going through, YouTube clips of various different Freddy scenes, and like there's like Nightmare 4 Dream Master has the "How's this for a wet dream" scene, which is freaking fantastic because the kid's in there, and all of a sudden this like hot chick is he's got a waterbed, and all of a sudden like he pulls the blankets away, and there's this hot naked chick swimming around his underneath his waterbed, like underneath, right? And of course she then turns into Freddy and pulls him into the waterbed and then slices him up with his gloves. How fucking great is that? Like, you cannot. I mean, I honestly like. I love Friday the 13th, but they can't compete with that shit. I'm sorry, they just can't. Like,
well, I mean, they did step it up with Primetime Bitch.
Oh, Freddy?
Mm-hmm.
They did, which that's a epic one too. I got to take a picture next to a mock-up of that TV down at Slashback Video in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
That was at the what was that museum? Why can't I think of it? Mystic Museum,
mm-hmm.
Where they had the VHS collection at Slashback Video, which I think Ryan Turek from Shockwaves. He's one of the curators of that.
Oh, that's neat.
Him and his wife. Yeah, it's freaking badass. I think they take it around to conventions and stuff too, and set up a booth with it. But they had the TV and the Freddy head from it's prime time. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Welcome to prime time.
Where in that was from Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, where she gets pulled into the TV and killed. Also an epic scene. Not a good one for the pointed
phobia,
object ones though, because he doesn't use his knives, his hand knives.
But he makes a point of noting to her that she is worthy of prime time.
Welcome to prime time,
bitch.
Oh, that totally reminds me of the Freddy character from Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Welcome to your nightmare, bitch.
Oh, here we go. Looks like some sort of legally safe knockoff of an 80s horror character with miniature swords for fingers instead of knives.
I'm Scary Terry. You can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
The Freddy Morty? No,
I
don't know. It's the Freddy in like the alternate world. That's hilarious. Good job.
Ended bitch and every sentence was, and then it showed him growing up and he was all like bullied. It's so good. Oh, so good. But also you have Nightmare 5, Dream Child, where we have Bon Appetit, bitch. Where Freddy he force feeds a chick basically her own stomach innards.
Oh.
Like she doesn't realize it, but then he's like force feeding her from her own stomach. What else? You have Taryn versus Freddy in Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors, which she's the punk rock chick.
Oh yeah.
And she busts out her switchblade And then Freddy shows his glove and like he has his knife. So it's like knife on knife action.
Yeah.
Which is
Knife
the
on
best.
knife.
That's the best.
Knife on knife on knife.
That's the best Aichmophobia scene ever right there. I mean, you got her switchblade, you got the glove hands, and they're going at each other in a knife fight. And then his hands turn into fucking syringes.
Yep. Gross.
Because she's a druggie.
Yep.
And he stabs her to death and then
starts pumping her full of
or
pulling
man, it's so good.
Her.
It's so fucking good. The best kill scenes ever. Oh man, I am such a Nightmare fan compared
You are.
I love the Nightmare franchise. I think it's so damn good. What am I missing? Am I missing any good ones? Primetime Bitch is really good. Oh, New Nightmare, which is probably
your favorite.
It's my second favorite to the original.
Well.
But yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is a really tough one to like compare to the other ones because it's so different. But I love New Nightmare. I think it's fantastic. Dream Warriors 3 is like the third one is probably my second favorite in the real like franchise in the lists of the the original ones. But Wes Craven's New Nightmare is awesome, and there's a great scene. Well, if you want to talk about the glove and there's a scene where Heather Langenkamp's husband is creating the glove for a movie, and it's like this kind of high-techy, like robotic kind of Freddy glove. And then when he's driving home in his truck, he's all driving home all happy, and then the glove comes from somewhere wherever he's and kills him. Comes up. I remember it comes up from like his crotch or something.
That's
but it's
terrifying.
It's a great it's a great scene though. So that's a good one. But the best one is in the hospital when the little kid.
Oh yeah.
Miko Hughes from Pet Sematary.
Yeah, from the other movie we just watched.
He is in the hospital. They've got him like they won't let mom see him, and she's trying to get him not to go to sleep. And so they give him a sedative, and then his babysitter busts into the hospital room and like barricades the door and kicks out all the nurses and shit because she knows what's going on and she's trying to keep him awake. And he must nod off.
Can't keep him awake.
With a sedative. And so there's this scene where Freddy comes behind her or comes up to him and says something like ever play Skin the Cat?
Oh.
Like ever play Skin the Cat? That wasn't a very good Freddy voice.
I thought it was good.
Not so good.
Oh, okay. You could work on it.
Yeah. My Freddy, I don't know how you do it. Robert Englund's a talented guy.
Very.
And then she gets lifted up and thrown around the room, blood everywhere, the whole deal. Just like Tina in the original, which I thought was so cool, like a total throwback to that original scene where he lifts her up into the corner and all that stuff. So what a cool scene. Those are fucking great movies, man. If you
terrifying if you have Aichmophobia.
If you have
Aichmophobia.
Aichmophobia.
We cannot say
Aichmophobia.
It right. Aichmophobia.
I kept saying Ike all week, and I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, that must not be how you pronounce it. Because that would be E. It'd be like E-I-C-H. But yeah, if you're an Aichmophobic,
you might want to stay away from
Freddy
set of films.
Right? I mean, could you imagine something if you're afraid? Let's say you're afraid of knives or you're afraid of sharp objects. Can you imagine anything more terrifying than Freddy Krueger?
It would make me really uncomfortable.
I mean, it scares the shit out of everybody anyway, growing up and all that stuff. He's a scary ass character.
It scares me the most because he invades your sleep, and I love sleep.
Yeah, that and that's the thing. We'll definitely have to get back to Nightmare again when we do.
Oh, for sure.
There's going to be a lot of phobias,
fear of
sleep
nightmares,
phobias.
or
Yeah, which I wanted to save. I was like, do we really tackle a franchise? But there's just so many good, sharp object scenes in this.
No one's telling us how to do this.
That's right. I do what I want.
Well, I mean, we will take some direction if people have.
I do what I want. I do what I want. And I wanted to talk about Nightmare. I really just wanted to watch it again, which is great. Well, what else? We got more phobias coming up. I don't know what our next one is.
No, we didn't look it up again.
I didn't. Well, here's the thing. So we had kind of a limited. Oh, I think this is hilarious, by the way. We were talking about going A through Z through phobias, and we've actually been going out of order, which I realized the other day that the list that I was going off of, I thought it was alphabetical, And it was, except for like the first 4, and they got them fucked up somehow. So we went through like algophobia and electrophobia, and then went back to agoraphobia.
Oy.
I don't know how that happened, but the list that I was going off of was completely not alphabetical properly. So we're not going completely alphabetical on that list.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we are now.
We do what we want.
We'll kick it back into gear. But I did find a broader list that I think I'm gonna pick and choose from because it's got some really interesting phobias on it. So we'll play it by ear.
Pay attention to our social media sites, and Drew will be posting up little teasers.
Yeah,
for
I like
next
to tease
episode.
stuff.
Yeah,
I like
you
to
do.
tease. I'm a dirty little tease.
You are. You're such a tease.
This is getting weird. I think
It's
we're making
getting
everybody
very
uncomfortable.
weird. The Feardos love it.
I'm totally looking at her from across the room too. It's very
We're not breaking eye contact.
no. There's a very locked gaze right now.
It's very intimate.
It's very strange. I don't know. Let's take this to the bedroom.
Let's do it.
Let's take this to the bedroom, and you should tell our audience something to close out this episode that they should do this week. What should they do?
Okay, Feardos, stay afraid. Stay very afraid.